Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to episode 8 of the Chocolate Shake. Inshallah, that is God willing. Today we'll be dealing with the topic, men are the protectors and maintainers of women. All right, now why are we dealing with this topic or this issue? When I was young, and of course before my time, it was easily known or easily believed that men protected and maintained their women. Right about the time I was born during the time I guess we would call the woman liberace movement in America. And at that time, I think our country went through some changes where even when we say something as simple as men are the maintainers of women or men are the protectors of women, like that somehow became hazy to where I am now in life. And again, I'm right about 58 years old now, right? Coming up on my birthday. So what happened between the year I was born, which is 1966, and what's going on right now in 2024? What happened? So what happened is we had maybe 2 iterations of the women liberace movement or the women's rights movement, and where we are now in that movement, which is probably going to be called in the future the Me Too phase. Even saying that men are to protect and maintain a woman is something that's grown unfashionable. In other words, we are living in an age where women themselves are saying quite clearly to the rest of the world, we don't need men's protection and we don't need to be maintained by men. We have our educations and we can protect ourselves. That's why we have a police department. We can call 911. Right? And if we call 911, then they'll deliver the services that we need because we pay taxes. We have our own jobs now and we get tax money taken out of our jobs. So what do we need men to protect us for? And why do I need a man to maintain me when I can get my job and take care of myself? So I don't have to sit here and educate you guys on this, right? Like I said, basically when I do these podcasts or when I do these videos, I'm really doing these videos for the younger generation. I'm specifically doing it for young men, right? But of course anybody can listen. And the point we're making here is that it is even almost out of fashion. It's not almost out of fashion. It's absolutely out of fashion to say that a man is supposed to protect and maintain a woman. Now, how do we get here? It blows my mind. So what I wanted to do today was remind the young men that regardless of what it is society is saying about men and women and how women are saying, well, we don't need your protection, we don't need you to maintain us, know that it's a farce. Okay, good brothers, know that it's a farce. Take it from this older man who's lived some life. First of all, we will always protect our women and maintain them because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is God, highly glorified as he created the male in a superior fashion to the female as regards some things, right? Of course, there are things that women are superior with, but today we're talking about what it is that men are superior at. One of the things that we've gotten by the benefit of being Homo sapiens sapien is that God created the man or the male strong, right? We talked about that in another video. We're brawny, we're strong. And because we're created strong, we have the ability to enforce or force our will on others. Our strength, our bodily strength, enables men to force their will on the opposite sex, whether they like it or not. And there's nothing that they can do about it, which is why men are the people who rule the world. How is it that James Brown can say, this is a man's world? He can say that because it's true. Our strength made it a man's world because women can't defeat us in combat. They can't make us do anything physically, right? Because all we have to do is just say, okay, no, you're not going to do it. And we could check them physically. So because we have that benefit, because the Creator created us like that, then we have the ability to shut a woman down. And there's no way anybody can make us do anything but another man, right? The only creature on the planet Earth that can check a human man is another human man, right? We can have women who are judges. They can be lawmakers. They can be politicians. They can be a part of the apparatus of making law, but they can't enforce law. Only we men can enforce those laws, right? So even if we have women judges who are assigning over some type of law, it's not a law that she can enforce. Because if men say, we don't agree with that law and we reject it and we want it thrown out, I don't care what culture, what country, I don't care if you're white or black, fat or skinny, no matter what the situation, if men say we don't want it, then it won't go down. And there'll be nothing the opposite sex can do about it but submit to it. They have no option but to submit, unless they can in some way get other men to stand up for them by proxy and fight or check those men who are saying that we're not going to allow their law. Now, this is common sense. I don't know how we missed it in modern times, but this is common sense. So when we say men are maintainers or protectors and maintainers of women, this is what we're saying. So out of our protection, then of course comes by extension the maintenance. But I want to deal with the maintenance in another issue, because we have to deal with this Pookieism that's going on right now, especially in the black community. But you know, I was reminded that amongst our white brothers and sisters, they have their Chadisms, right? So right now, I'm going to deal with strength and how is it that we protect our women folk. Men must learn how to defend themselves, and we must also learn how to defend our ideas. So no matter what it is that society is going through, right? Because society, it has to go through waxing and waning. And we should never get so alarmed, whoa, the sky is falling, right? Where we believe that whatever's going on in a particular watch in our lives or particular times or space in our lives, that this is going to be something that's going to be continuous, and that this is going to be something that will be concretized, right? No, we can't believe like that. We have to understand that things go up and they come back down, right? Things swing to the left and they go as far as they can go off to the left before something checks it, and then it starts swinging right on back to the right, right? So this is how life is. We swing to the left and we swing to the right. And right as we get about this place here, that's when we get to the position where we have, you know, everything is kind of cool and it's equal. Right about in this area, things get kind of cool, they get equal. However, we can't get caught up in our minds that when we're here inside of any particular watch in our lives, right, or time and space in our lives, that's what it really is, because it's not really that. Things change, right? And the most constant thing that we know happens in the universe, or the most constant thing that is in the universe, is change. That's the most constant thing, is change itself. So we're not going to get bent out of shape as men about what it is that's going on with the women's rights movement, or where it is right now in our society, right? Because society needs these types of movements we need these types of changes to bring that nice little perfect balance, right? So we're not going to get mad at women folk because they're wanting equality, but we will have to check things when they start to go too far off to the left, right? To say that men are not the protectors and maintainers of the human family is nonsensical, right? Any woman that says that, whether she be young or old, then that means that people like me, right, barbers, the OGs, we have to step up and say, wait a minute now, let's calm some of this down. Even if you get into trouble and you call the police, who do you think gonna show up? You think 2 women are gonna show up? Well, I can guarantee you they won't. You're gonna have 2 men show up and possibly a woman show up, right? Because even in the police departments, they know they better not stack up those police departments with women, because if they do, then they won't be able to subdue the bad guys out here. Because the bad guys out here, 95% of the time, they will be men. And if you send some female police officer after some of these guys that I know out here committing crime, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, okay? So even if you call 911 women, what you're going to get? You're going to get 2 big bald head guys show up that are going to be there to enforce the law or to protect you if you call them against some interloper, somebody breaking into your home, somebody trying to do harm to you or damage to you, right? You're going to get two big bald head cops that are going to be males that'll show up, right? With muscles everywhere. That's what you're going to get. And those will be the men that will protect you. So yet again, men are the protectors and the maintainers of women. Now, for you young men, see that that is the case. Then we need our young men to step up, and our young men need to realize, look, I have to learn how to defend my women. I have to learn how to defend my mother, my aunties, my grandmother. I have to learn how to defend the woman that's going to be my woman, my wife, or my wives, right? This is what the young brothers have to realize. And we can't allow what's going on with our women in the society, especially in the Western world, would look like people just absolutely losing their minds when it comes to the genders and the sexes. I myself have become confused and have to backtrack and go back to the Quran and go back to Prophet Muhammad and go back to the great wisdom of the ages to correct myself, because you can get taken out by the stuff that these people have going on in this society, right, in the Western world. So to get past this confusion, I want young brothers to know that, no, you are the leader. What makes you the leader of your family, what makes you the leader over your woman, what makes you the leader over your household and your children is the fact that you have that strength, right? You have that God-given strength that makes you the leader of your family, because your wife can't whoop you. Right? It's just that simple. And I heard another wise man say many years ago, the son of Mr. Elijah Muhammad, his name was Warith Uddin Muhammad, or some people will call it Wallace Muhammad, who became his heir. And the vast majority of Muslims believe that he succeeded his father and took the nation of Islam into its next generation. Well, he said one time, and I thought it was hilarious, but it's very true. He said, brothers, if you get ready to marry a woman, never marry a woman that can whoop you. You never marry a woman who's larger than you, who have more muscle than you, or a woman that can literally physically handle you. You don't want to marry a woman like that, right? And of course, there was some joking in that, but there's a lot of reality in that. So when a man marries a woman, you want to marry a woman that's going to be submissive, and you definitely don't want to marry a woman who's bigger and stronger than you, because if it comes down to it, and you have to handle something in your household, you want to make sure that you're able to handle that woman. Now, while we're on that subject, before anybody get crazy, right? Even when women and men are close in size, close in age, close in weight, right? The man is still 70% stronger, that's on the high end, than a woman. 70%, brothers and sisters. So even if your wife is your size in height, she's your size in weight or somewhere near it, she's near you in height, she's near you in weight, we have to realize that that man is still 70%. This is scientific. So I'm not just pulling numbers, out my backside. 70% stronger that man is. And that's from the torso up, right? From the torso down, men are 40% on the high end stronger than a woman who's his equal weight and his equal height. 40%, even from the bottom. So even with our thighs and you know what's going on with the muscles through your legs and in your feet, etc., still you're 40% stronger than a woman who's equal to you in height and in weight. So to just let you know that the man was created to build out the society. The man was created to hunt. The man was created to bring in that bread. The man was created to build the tall buildings. The man was created to build the cars. The man was created to build the plane. Men have been created to do all of these things. And by extension, that just something as simple as Allah building the man in a way where we have more muscle and we have more strength. That in itself, it has a spectrum that comes from that has built out our world the way we know it. And had women had some ability to rule this world and they could somehow get around strength, then the world would look like a totally different place. And I'm not saying for the better, I'm saying for the worse, right? It wouldn't be the same. The amenities and the things that we enjoy as human beings, they would not be here the way they are. because they don't have the way to bend the earth to their will, the way that men have been able to bend the earth to our will, right? So the things we enjoy on this planet now on the physical level, they wouldn't have. And I'm saying the physical level, that's not fair, because even the way men think, right? The way that we have a logical way of thinking, we don't have as much expression in emotion, right? We are just as emotional, right? People say, oh, men are not as emotional as women. No, we are. We are as emotional as women now, right? They don't have a superiority over us in emotion. No, we're about equal in emotion, so say the scientists. However, it's the expression of the emotion that makes it different, right? Women express their emotions in ways that men don't, and men in ways that men can't, because of the way that Allah built the man and he built the woman. The male and the female are not alike. No matter what the feminists say, no matter what the women say, no matter what these crazy people in the West are saying, right? The man and the woman are not alike. We're two different parts of the same species. We are actually opposites, right? And we are that beautiful opposite where you have the attraction in the opposite, right? That's where the attraction comes from. But we are not alike. There's no sameness, right? Man and woman are only alike via law. When it comes to the law, we're the same. We're equal. When it comes, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to pay and everything else, you pay people what they deserve. All these things, I have nothing against women having equality as regards the law. But when we're talking about what we're talking about now, we're talking about genetics. We're talking about DNA. We're talking about things that take us back down to, for lack of a better expression, the animal level. We're not the same, right? And that's why we rule the world. The men rule the world. That's why we can dominate over our women. And of course, in that domination, that should always be done in a moral capacity. A man who wants to have a woman, who wants to have a family, he has to understand that he himself has to be brought under a law, right? He himself has to be brought under something that protects not only himself, but his wife and his children. One last thing before I cut off, because we're getting long in this video. Self-defense. Because men are the protectors and maintainers of women, that by extension means, especially for you young brothers, you have the duty to protect your women. Nobody else. It's your job. It's not the police department's job. Even though these feminists may say that, you may hear people talking about, I don't need no man's protection. If you do such and such or something happen to me, I'll call the police. Yeah, and when you call the police, men are going to show up to take care of that business. So why not your man, if you're a woman? Why not your man, your husband, protect you? Assign to him the duty to protect you. And young brothers, stop listening to these silly little girls talk about they don't need protection. It's silly. Even if they be old, don't listen to them, because it's foolish. You need to protect your women and your family. It's your job. It's not the job of police officers. It's not the job of some politician. It's not the job of your neighbor. It's not the job of the Marines or the Army and the Air Force and the Navy. It's not their job. It's your job. If you're a man and you sire children and you calling yourself having a woman, then it's your job to take care of your woman and to take care of your children. It's not Atlanta Police Department's job to do it, or out here where I live in Gwinnett County. It's not Gwinnett County job to protect my family. It's my job to protect my family. And if you are a father or a grandfather or uncle, and you know that there are women in your family that don't have their fathers might be locked down, their fathers might be dead, or whatever the case may be, then it's your job. Then when you see something happen to the women in your family, grandfather, then you need to stand up and do the job that you need to do for your granddaughter. It's your job, uncle. You stand up and do what you need to do to protect your female folk. And specifically, if you calling yourself a man over a woman, and that woman is your wife, you better stand up and protect your wife and protect that woman. It's your job to do that. Nobody else's job, no matter what these silly women say, right? And you don't let a woman stand up over you to fight or to defend what it is that you are or whatever's going on in your life, right? It's your job to do that. And lastly, on that note, self-defense is something that all men need to learn. Young brothers, Go out and learn how to defend yourselves. Take some martial arts courses. Make sure that you know escape routes. Make sure that you keep your family in automobiles that work well. We have to move in this world in a defensive mindset. When you're a man that's a moral man, if you have beliefs that you stand on, especially if you're a moral man, trust and believe there are people in this world who are immoral. There are immoral men out here that they will check your, they will, check your metal, bruh. They want to know what you made of, and they'll come at you. You can say you stand for this, and they'll go in the opposite direction, and they'll come at you, and they're going to test you to see what it is you have, and can you defend your position as a moral man. So moral men need to be men who are conscious about self-defense. You have to know how to protect yourself. And self-defense has 3 levels, as we teach. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for those who don't know that. So I've went through now going close to 20 years of practicing this. No, 24 years of practicing, 25 years of practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm a black belt, and I teach and do some other things on the side when I feel like it. The point is, I know how to defend myself. And one of the things that I learned by practicing martial arts is that martial arts has 3 phases. You have martial arts that deal with what we call the standing world. That's kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, etc. All the things where you throw punches, kung fu, karate, etc. Right? And then you have the grappling world, where you actually take men down to the ground, where you fight on the ground. That's wrestling, that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's Sambo, Judo, etc. And then you have the third world. In the third world is the world of weaponry, that you have to know how to use weapons. You have to know how to use all of the modern weapons. And I understand, again, I'm on YouTube. I'm new to this. And I understand that on YouTube, there's certain words that you can't use, right? That they'll give you a strike, or there's certain things they don't like to be used. So I won't say the particular type of weapon that we should have in modern days, but you should know what that is. That if you are walking around in a society where you know you're coming across hundreds, if not thousands, of other men every day as you go to your jobs and you're passing through traffic, etc., or you live in these cities and you have a wife and children, then you need to make sure that all 3 areas of martial arts are taken care of. You need to know how to box, brothers. You need to know how to do your Muay Thai. You need to know how to do some kung fu, some karate. Right? You need to know how to do some judo, some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You need to know how to take a man down, some wrestling, and how you can immobilize him on that ground, right? So that you can get some help, or either that you can go ahead and do whatever's necessary to defend yourself and get away from that situation. And thirdly, you need to make sure you know how to work some weapons, right? This is where we are. And this is what a man is about. So young brothers, as I get ready to close this out, it's extremely important for you guys to understand that being a man means that you protect and you maintain, right? So today I dealt with the protection aspect of it. And inshallah, God willing, in the next video, I'm going to deal with the maintenance part of it. This Opookism that we need to deal with, especially in the black community, right? So very important. Never let anybody tell you that it's not your job to protect and maintain, brothers. Ignore women who don't understand that they need your protection, because they're saying one thing, but they're speaking out of the sides of their mouths, because they will always need men to protect them and defend them, okay? It is your job to do it. So take up your job as a man and be a man and learn how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, ask the older guys like myself, ask the OGs, and we'll sit down and we'll talk to you and we'll get you where you need to be on how it is that you need to do that, right? On the macro and the micro levels. So this is my message for today. I hope that something I said benefited you. If anything I did say it sounds crazy or wacky, then, leave it to me. And you could leave a comment and we can go, we could talk about it if you'd like to talk about it. And outside of that, if you did feel like you benefited from it, please do me a favor and like the video. Please subscribe if you're not a member of my channel, so we can make this thing grow. And God willing, we can continue to put out this type of just short videos to help our young brothers and our young sisters out here grow into being perfect moral individuals, okay? Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next episode. Peace.